All right, I'm just gonna just going to get started, and I'll just accept people as they come in. All right, so first thing that I'm gonna continue immediately from Tuesday was the fact that we never came into a region that we had essentially wanted to point out. We wanted a pullback continuation, but in reality, you just got the order flow continuation there. All right, order flow continuation, right, impulse, and then obviously a bearish liquidity grab, meaning now that in order for me to take another long position based on, let me delete the mess here. The only way for me to take a trade based on an intraday trend based on low high retracement means I would need an internal conversion here, because I know that we've already taken previous structure with momentum. We are pretty overextended at the time. We have just been seeing continuations from an internal perspective in terms of low, high, low, high, low, high, low, high, low, high. And we are now potentially going to see maybe even a previous low here that we had noted to be taken out. And the only reason why I'm saying that is because I'm referencing the weekly as well. So I didn't really want to try to guess where this was going to turn. As you guys know, I did acknowledge, right, the turbulence point, and then we had like POI number 1, then we had a POI number 2, right, which is technically where we are currently, right? However, I don't really want to play this, right, because this is it is derived from a very high structural level. So I know that internally I have to essentially continue structure. Sorry about that, let me mute. Sorry about that. Anyways, okay, cool. I don't think I lost you guys. My bad. Anyways, right, so in terms of playing a reaction based on a POI, I know that if I want to play bearish perspective, I know that I need a bearish transition internally to be in harmony with the support of the POI. So when I'm looking now internally, right, or well, the immediate structure, right, I see the structural range that I just noted, and I also see, right, where price is currently. So where price is currently, I know, right, that I have now given a reaction based on that, but not a full-on reaction, because I know that from a structural perspective, right, high, low, high, low, high being potentially anywhere here, with my invalidation being on top. So I know that the only way for me to play based on the POI is to see a order flow disruption, a strong break of structure, anything we want to support, right, the move to the upside, because that, if we were to take previous structure, then that solidifies, right, this low, right, as being a solidified low. So now we're looking at low, high retracement, potential continuation to the upside, or potential reversal back in a premium, right? Or maybe I would say that was more reasonable right there. And then here's where you would observe for any bearish transitions, which would then lead to being unwillingness and then a full-on conversion. And all that was just a pullback, because there is still the possibility, right, that this weekly closure could be significant in terms of where it's reacting from, how we closed, right, the total amount of strong momentum, right? Not only that, we took out preliminary structure, right? So this could be, you know, pretty overextended, and we could finally start seeing some downside movement. Now, in terms of how far it will go, I can't make that, you know, assumption, just as we couldn't make that assumption for how bullish we were going to be, right? Because there were multiple times where we saw bearish conversions, they just never worked out. So I can only play based on the medium-term bias and play those continuations. So in this perspective, I know that the daily is bullish, It's been like that since May. So I know that the only way for me to want to continue that bias is if I see that bullish transition, and I can then create, or not create, but follow that order flow, that structure, to then take me to previous, or to the counter POI, or even to previous targets. So we could be overextended on DXY. So it's just all about the transitions, especially because we're dealing with a big move here. Right now with EU, I remember on Tuesday, I'm putting this over here. Sorry about that, guys. Anyways, right, we've already covered, right, the essentially type of redistribution here, right, and we've already covered the continuation here. So that didn't reach. I don't recall what that was. But there is an M15 POI, and this is just for me to acknowledge that there is order flow to the downside at this moment of time. So I know that my range is solidified, right, because this is where we had a preliminary break of structure, and then here we had a bearish transition. So this is my solidified high, and then immediately after this high, we see high, low, high, low, high, low, high, low, high, unwillingness, preliminary break, preliminary break. So this is my solidified low, and as of now, right, we are still bearish. We can't really assume otherwise, even though I said we could reverse on DXY. We just cannot assume that. So the first thing I'm going to acknowledge, right, is the previous continuation mitigation here, right? That has now been taken, which is a clear sign of liquidity, right? So I know that internally, right, we could be potentially reacting from a possible POI right there. Right. However, right, we already know, like we said with DXY, but pretty much an inverse perspective, this would be more so the continuation. So in order for me to take the continuation, I know that I need some type of transition. So I see low, high, preliminary break, pullback, right? However, this does have strong momentum, although it was the closure of the weekly. So it really just depends on how we open up on Saturday. But I would like to see some type of transition, whether it's a liquidity grab or it's, you know, low momentum into a POI, and then I would catch the reaction off that. But who knows? I can't really make that assumption right now, just because, like I said, I need to see how we were going to open, because for all we know, we could open down here, up here. It really just depends. However, right, it was interesting to see, right, this move manifest itself. I didn't trade it just because I didn't want to, you know, force a type of reversal, especially at the time. I know a couple of you guys did catch this, but especially at the time, everything is signaling to me bearishness. So I don't want to assume that it's going to reverse or transition in the opposite direction, just because I've been selling since September. You see what I mean? That's been September, October, November, about 3-4 months that I've been, you know, short on this. So I don't really want to change that perspective. Although I could hedge, I don't really want to force that from a risk perspective. That gives us now to AU. Been one of the more interesting ones, actually, because this one is actually straight up just melted down, and we're probably going to take this on tomorrow upon market open. So it's just good to see this transition, because if you guys recall, right, we did cover, right, the position up here, which obviously now you could see is very different now, but you could see the transitions trying to occur, for example, and from a perspective of trying to re-enter. I know internally, right, that as soon as if you guys remember this study here, we did it on Zoom. Let's see if that's November 10th. So you probably covered it on Friday, November 12th. But we could have, you know, tried to assume a reversal based on daily POI that we had talked about, right? I believe that was a 2-day, if I'm not mistaken. No, it wasn't a 2-day. That's the wrong one. But anyways, we could have tried to play the reversal play there, right? But this is why I'm stressing continuations, because I know that although there is a strong reaction, continuation BOS here, I know that my structural range is bearish in terms of high, low retracement, right? And then now it's just continuation to the downside, right? Which is pretty much you're seeing strong order flow in the perspective of pullback, continuation, right? Which, if you even want to compare it to anything of a Wyckoff perspective, if you want to say, no matter if it's scam 1 or scam 2, no matter if how you want to structure it, you could say strong order flow, and then you see the continuations to the upside, right? Or even internally, you could say that, right? In terms of liquidity grab, right? Mitigation, strong move, optimism, continuation, right? And that's just, to me, important to me, because that shows me where the narrative is and where the continuations are going. So although I didn't really necessarily trade internally here, I know that this is being dictated by how we have structured order flow from the perspective of here in terms of high, low retracement. But yeah, this one's been interesting. I honestly did not expect this to continue lower. But I guess we're still, you know, technically in play of this transition here, which took a couple of months back in, you know, early Q2. So as of now, right, we are full on bearish, and we should even be seeing this potentially be met relatively soon. Maybe I would even say a month and a half, maybe. Excuse me. All right, so GU. Same old. This one, I honestly haven't touched this, and it's been a couple of weeks now. I haven't really had a reason to touch this, right? It's really just been order flow continuations, and the best entries, right, have happened during London, right, in terms of their 12, and I don't really get to trade London often. 12, new day open, right? But you see every big move has been during London session, and unfortunately I just haven't been, you know, too efficient with wanting to catch those. But yeah, I mean, the bias hasn't changed on here, right? I know we've been bearish on this. Nothing has changed. So that pretty much continues this. Very interesting. I do want to see, so just quick summary. It's just, I want to see how we react internally here, to see what kind of reaction we will see, to see whether or not this weekly closure is going to be a shakeout, or, you know, a potential sign of reversal. So could go either way. Just want to see how we react pretty much Sunday and Monday. But yeah, but do you guys have any questions? Or does anybody have any studies that they want to show? Because, yeah, that's what I was going to pull up right now. Pretty much Dom's study from 2 weeks ago. You know, very nice study. I believe we covered it November 11th. Was that the 12th too? Yeah, I think November 12th. And from there, you know, I know a lot of you were in this as well. But yeah, that was a very good study to see happen. Very interesting scenario, yes, because I don't like how we didn't create a substantial new low. What's borderline? Because, like, by substantial new low, I mean structural range, right? Low, substantial new low, right? Less substantial low, and it's a lot quicker as well, as this took from August 10th to 25th of October, whereas this is from October 25th, 26th, down to November 19th. So I would hate to see this pop, you know, but I am seeing this. And you guys know I don't want to be in the reversal mindset, of course, but right, I have to be dynamic. So yeah. I wonder if this is going to be sign of reversal or sign of pullback with bearish transition to the downside. Cool. So does anybody have any questions, studies that they want to cover. Don't want to make today's call too quick. Anybody? Okay, not for you now. Yeah, cool. Welcome to the group. Welcome to the group. Very chill environment, if you were to ask me. Cool, so nobody has any questions? All right, then I guess we can end it off there. Nothing too significant in terms of changes. Basically started right where we, ended off right where we started in terms of DXY. Literally started right where we open. Closed right where we open. Yeah, this is worrying me. Very strong move to the downside is worrying me. On turbulence point, potential continuation. However, I don't want to assume that, you know, because I don't know if this is unwillingness yet. We can assume this is unwillingness internally, but we can't really assume this is unwillingness until obviously we're starting to reach up here. Yeah, it is. Yeah, it is. Literally right at equilibrium. Let me see this as well. Nothing too crazy. Until Friday. NFP. Yeah, non-farm payroll. Cool, gonna be an interesting week. But yeah, I guess we can end it off there. I appreciate you guys for hopping on, and I will see you guys on Tuesday.